5 days before the constitutional adjournment of the legislative session, Governor Plenty made a surprising announcement stating that there would be no special session regardless as to whether or not a budget deal was reached. Plenty promised he would use his line item veto and unallotment authority to balance the budget if a deal was not reached. Now, legislators, party officials, the news media, and all of our members are trying to sort out exactly what the legacy of the 2009 session will be. And we are hoping that our panel this morning will shed some light on this and other questions. So this program has been a long tradition here at TwinWest, and normally our session review program would be moderated by a politically savvy local TV personality, but we thought we'd try something different. Me. Really, nobody was available. But one tradition does continue, and that's a sterling panel of political experts. So let's start this morning. First, we have Sarah Janicek, and Sarah founded the online public affairs news service, politicsinminnesota.com. She writes and publishes the Politics in Minnesota weekly report as well. And Sarah regularly appears on Twin Cities Public Television's Almanac and At Issue and other local and national news programs, and is a well-known face at the Capitol. Sarah? Blois Olson provides leadership for Thunheim Partners and its clients in public affairs, crisis communication, and online strategy. Prior to joining Thunheim, he founded and led New School Communications for 9 years. Blois was also personally involved in politics, managing several campaigns, and in 1998 he co-founded MinnesotaPolitics.com, an online source for Minnesota political information. Welcome, Blois. Next we have Greg Pepin. Greg worked for 18 years at the Minnesota Capitol in several capacities. As director of the Minnesota House Republican Campaign Committee, Greg was the architect of the GOP takeover of the Minnesota House of Representatives in 1998. Greg is currently a partner at B2B Strategies. In addition to his own insight, he also gets a unique perspective into the legislature thanks to his wife, State Representative Joyce Pepin. So Greg Pepin, welcome. Lori Sturdivant. Lori is a longtime editorial writer and columnist for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, specializing in coverage of state government and politics. She has won several awards for her work, including the 2001 Premack Award and the 2005 Friend of the Humanities Award of the Minnesota Humanities Commission. She has edited several books, including 2 about former Governor Elmer Anderson. Please welcome Lori Sturdivant. Okay, this is kind of fun. Careful, they are on wheels. Don't go off the back. Okay, this holding, I'm sorry, I'm reliving childhood here. Okay, so let's start at the end. So as I described in the program intro, this really was an unprecedented end of session. I haven't talked to anyone in the legislature who wasn't surprised by the outcome of this. And in fact, I kind of have to publicly eat my words here because those loyal attendees of this meeting have heard me the last 2 meetings as we've introduced this event, that this is so not going to be the end of session wrap-up. We got to call it something else. Well, here we are. It's the end of session wrap-up. So let's start with what was your concern to this? Was this surprising? Am I the only one who was shocked by this? Blois, you want to start us off?
I don't think you're the only one who was shocked. We told all of our clients, and I also thought we'd be here till Labor Day. And I still think in many ways those of us who watch it on a daily basis will be. I think unallotment will play its way out over time. While people understand the ramifications, it will get continual coverage, and it leads right into 2010. I mean, I think I'll give the governor credit. I think it was a bold move. I think it was a politically risky move for him and the entire Republican Party. But I don't think we're going to see how it plays out for quite a few months.
Sarah, looking at this and how this kind of played out, it's always difficult when you're right, at the Capitol looking at it. You see one perspective. How do you think that the public viewed this? Who looked like the leader in this?
Well, I think the entire game set match was the headline of the press release after the unallotment announcement. No government shutdown, no special session. And to me, what's fascinating about this is one, I think that most people are happy about the outcome and that this morass that we're in is over and that it was a leadership move. Two, it'll be fun to watch this play out because it's a really interesting combination of democracy 101, executive branch, judicial branch, and the legislative branch. And various groups are looking at suing over the unallotment when those announcements start being made next week. And so that's the part that fascinates me, is the big picture and the fundamental way we've set up our government to operate, how that all plays out now.
Greg, should this have been a surprise? I mean, was this a strategic mishap or on the part of the legislature, or?
I don't know if there was a strategic mishap. I think, you know, some of the characterizations that have been out there that the governor kind of operated in some schoolyard bully type manner, I mean, I just don't think that's accurate. The forecast came out last November. The governor said he wasn't going to raise taxes. The legislature came into session in January. The governor said he wasn't going to raise taxes. The February forecast came out. The governor said again the same thing. He communicated via letter to legislators in March, and then he said 5 days before the unallotment that that's what he was going to do. I think what it really points to, and hopefully there'll be ongoing discussion, the legislature needs to do budgeting differently. It needs to look at how it budgets differently. And clearly, with the DFL in control of both bodies, I think they can do this better, they can do it faster, quicker, and quite frankly, I think they can do it in a way that gives them more power vis-a-vis negotiations with the governor at the end of session. And I hope that they come up with a methodology to do that.
Well, Laura, let's talk about that a little bit. When we had our pre-session legislative breakfast, I think back in January, we heard a lot about zero-based budgeting. We heard a lot about crisis brings opportunity, and this is the best time to reform. What happened?
Well, you heard about a few reforms that I don't want to minimize from these legislators. But we had a sense, I think, all session long that Minnesota is on the verge of some pretty big changes. The budget deficit was at an unprecedentedly large size. And we had a sense that would force some changes. But then along came a boatload of federal money, and along came some opportunities for some one-time changes, including the anticipated unallotment. That's going to be $2.7 billion of one-time measures, either shifts or budget cuts, all one time. The opportunity arose for the legislature and the governor to shove this problem forward in time, and that's what happened. I think when you give politicians at the State House a chance to push the problem either forward in time or onto somebody else's shoulders, often that's local government, they'll take that opportunity. And that's what we've seen. But the impetus, the need for change, and a sense that change is coming is still with us.